Welcome, YouTube. This is Campaign Terrain. I'm your host, That Guy Cross. This is my basement, and tonight we're going to be continuing on the farm gate that I was working on last week. I've done quite a few things this week. I'm going to catch you up on those, and then I'll jump into the farm. YouTube's already up to its regular stupidity, so hopefully this will be an hour and a half tonight, hour and a half, somewhere in there. Otherwise, it may be like 13 seconds. I don't know. So either way, welcome. If it's your first time, come on in, have a good time, sit down. I try to be really chill about this. If nothing else, I'm a little bit of background noise for you. If you enjoy crafting anything in miniature, or if you just like to see people craft things in miniature, this is going to be a good channel for you. Hopefully, I can inspire some people to build some things. But in the meantime, I'm going to be catching up and then jumping into the other thing. If this is not your first time and you are coming back, welcome, my campaigners. I am always glad to have you. I'm going to get straight into the business, and then I'm going to get into the recent business, and then I'm going to get into tonight's business. So the business is, I got some people I got to thank. I do have some Patreon patrons. So I got Digital Calibrator. That's DC. Helps me not just financially with the Patreon, which is awesome, and I love that, but also sometimes comes over and physically helps here in the studio with some things like configuring the lights and sound. So if you can see me and if you can hear me, then good. If that's all thanks to DC, it's mostly thanks to DC. We'll get to one more in a minute. Yeah, Patrick Walther, longtime supporter of the channel, also has their own YouTube channel, but I don't know if I'm supposed to tell people that or not. So anyway, long-time supporter of the channel. Really appreciate that. I've got Dungeon Matron. That's Lisa. Lisa has some things going on right now, so what I'm about to tell you is actually on hiatus, but she has her own Discord server. That's most of her social presence. We like to hang out there on Wednesdays and Saturdays on the voice chats and talk to each other, have the cameras on, show some crafting while we're doing it, about like this, except it's, anywhere between like 3 to 20 people. So that's Dungeon Matron's Discord, and the links are down in the doobly-doos down here, now kind of where I'm sitting from this screen. And so, yeah, come on by and do that. But again, she's got some things going on, so that might be on hiatus for a minute. And the last one's Solo Nick, and Solo Nick has their own channel. That channel, Solo Nick, is about some crafting and painting of minis and things like that. Also has an art channel and traveling about town thing, which I specifically went out of my way to remember the name of the channel and completely forgot the name of it again. But he does have a second channel. So if you want to know that, bother me in the comments. It's never a bother. Talk to me in the comments, or preferably come to my Discord and I can chat with you there, send you over to his 2 channels. So that's Solo Nick. Okay, that's the telling everybody things out of the way. So let's switch over to the right-hand cam. Now, when I switch to this one, this is the one where I'm actually going to be crafting at. And every time I switch to here, I have to turn on the light after the fact, because otherwise it'll blind the front camera. So give me just a second. Alrighty, we got that. Okay. Now, this past week, I worked on several things for this farm challenge that's got going on. So let's start with those just from the closest to my face at this time. I've been working on a house. I thought this might be a little more colorful than the tan one I put in some of my pictures that you can see on my Discord. So I thought about using this blue one, so I've been working on finishing it. I already had the body done, but I've added all the trim, the roof, painted the roof red and to look like terracotta, and added all of the trim and everything. Still got to stick on some windows and some doors, but been working on that, but I might not actually do that because I have a lighter colored one that's already finished. That's the one that I did on the live streams about 2 months ago. That's got the chimney with the different, who knows? One way or the other, there will be a farm, and it may or may not have this house. Okay, so actually, let me put that entirely out of the way. Okay. Here on the live stream, I've been working on these fences. These are the slat rail fences that I did, and they have all been put together. Then I then I stained them. Then I put white glue, which if you put white glue on first and you can't stain it, it won't take the stain. So I stained them first in place, and then I glued them. Then I attached some tea grounds to make it look like they've got soil, which turned out really well. That's this part right in here. And then I, last week or the week before, I honestly don't remember. It all kind of runs together. I put some grasses and such on here, by which I mean this moss here. And the moss is just sawdust flock with paint in it, and it ends up looking really good. You can use that as a moss paste if you need mosses in like on a cliffside or in a cavern. But it also makes for good grasses. It can make for flowers if you paint it with yellows or purples or something. I already had these grasses. These are made out of tufts of natural fiber twine that's been cut and then dyed green, or this one on this side is made out of some bristles that were cut off of a paintbrush and then dyed. Those have just been hot glued on, and then I came back by and touched those up to sort of hide them into the dirt. So there you go. That's the paintbrush grasses. This is the rope grasses. This is the sawdust flock as moss, and this is the tea flock as dirt. And you could have swapped those. I could have made sawdust dirt and tea moss or tea grasses. It wouldn't matter. These are the ones I've just recently made. I tried to make some with this funky weird rope I've got here on screen, and I ended up doing it wrong and breaking some things, and I decided not to do it. And then I found these older ones. I don't even remember making these. I did not make these this week, but I did make sure to put them with all of my other farm things. So these are made basically the same way. These are woven little coffee sticks or something like that, or lollipop sticks or something. And these are woven, there's a wire inside with a paper coating. It's for something to do with floral wire or something. And it makes a really good looking like branch. I don't know if you can see, I don't know if I can get that in focus. There you go. So you can see what that paper looks like. You can pretty much get that at any craft store or garden center. I also took some little twigs, just genuine twigs, and I cut all the side pieces off, all the side branches, and then I cut those on my little crafting miter saw box. This is called a razor saw, even though it's not a razor blade. It's called a razor saw if you ever need to find one. I attached it to here to make the miter box more stable. This is just to keep it from sliding around. So I used that to cut these into little chunks that I thought looked good in scale to this guy. I did it all by eyeball. I didn't measure squat. And then I took those pieces and I cut those with my craft knife, and I literally took this, and at first I was trying to cut it and hold the blade and do that, and I cut myself. Don't do that. Don't do it that way. So what I did after that is I held it like this and put that on top of the things, just kind of held them a little bit stable and hit them with a literal hammer on the back very, very firmly, but only a little bit at a time so it wouldn't just slam through it. And what I ended up doing is making a bunch of wood piles that I can now use that will look very rustic next to my farmhouses. So that is everything on this tray. I've got new fences, old fences, farm things, and some random warrior here because that's what I was using for scale. So those can go off to the side. Don't fall over. I don't want to have to look for you. Thank you. Okay. Close the knife for safety. I've already cut myself once this week. Let's not do that again. All righty. So that brings us up to where we were last week before the glue was giving me fits. So let me read the chat, which seems to be very active, and then I'll get back to that. So Loosely Collected said first. Yep, you were first. Hey, LC, how you doing? Good to see you. Mrs. Lynn said made it on time too. I didn't, but that was YouTube's fault, not mine. Yay, regular stupidity. Yeah, I don't like the irregular, unexpected stupidity. Tech Gremlins all on a warpath. They are. Tonight's been bad. So if I suddenly drop out, I'll try to come back once. If it doesn't work the second time, you know the drill. That's that point. Doobly-doos. Yeah. I don't know where I picked up doobly-doos from, but yeah, I say it all the time. Sim Peasant, oh my gosh, I've been so enjoying your stuff. Sim Peasant has her own channel called Sim Peasant, where she does really chill game playthroughs, only 15 minutes per video, so it's not a big time commitment. You can just put it on and have something really chill for about a quarter of an hour. And lately has been doing, I remembered it this time, Disney Dreamlight Valley. See, I can never remember that, and I got it this time. So Disney Dreamlight Valley, and there's like 41 days of things in a row, and she's covering like all of it. So today she had a whole interaction with Hades. Built him a new house that's horrible looking, that's cute on the inside. Well, it's not cute. I find it cozy, but I'm super goth and dark and dismal. So the inside's really nice. The outside's freaky and weird, but the getting to the point was fun. So that was enjoyable. Lost in the woods. Yeah, Mrs. Lynn was lost in the woods. Sent me some interesting pictures from being out in the woods both yesterday and today. Some video of some, well, just some woods, but you can hear the frogs in the background doing froggy things. Yeah, so had a good time in the woods, so that's excellent. And oh my gosh, Lucy Collected worked 12-hour shifts all week. I hope, was that like 5 of them? Did you work 60 hours this week? Oh, hey, Lisa, I was literally just talking about you. I was telling people that they should go to your Discord. I said that you've had some personal stuff going on, been a little busy. So maybe Wednesdays and Saturdays are out for right now, but they can still, there's links to your thing below. So that's a good thing. Lots of moss out in the woods. That's excellent, Mrs. Lynn. Good deal. Good deal. All right. So Elsie, where we're at right now is, did you work 60 hours this week, or did you just have like 3 12-hour days in a row? 60 hours seems a lot. I hope you're on wage and not salary so that you get like overtime and stuff. All righty, let's get to where I was. This is going to be my gate. My gate is 6 inches, like the rest of my popsicle things for my fence lines. I'm not going to cut that down. I'm going to keep it at 6 inches. I might get frustrated if I can't weave some pieces through and get them to stay in place, at which point I might cut these shorter, but by then the gate will already be on. So let's put the gate on first, then we'll worry about making that into fence. And it may be gate alone, or it may be fence. The way this is going to work, hypothetically, see these 2 little pegs on the, oops, let's put it actually upright. The 2 little pegs on the fence, one of these is going to slide up through a hole that has more clearance. Then it's going to drop into another hole, and that's going to actually allow this to swing. When that's all said and done, I'm going to get a very small piece of string and attach it through here like a loop so that that can be pulled over the fence post to stop it swinging so that your sheep or your goats or whatever can't get through. So yeah, this I had problems with last week. Now it's plenty sturdy. It's all set up. This has super glue and white glue on it. And as you can see, it is not a pretty connection. So I'm going to scrape that off, hopefully without cutting myself again. And then we will work on putting that in the little tube, not the whole length of this tube. It'll just be like little sections that'll work like hinges. Those will eventually get painted metal, in a metallic color like metal, or a rusted color like rusted metal. Okay, so, oh, it just broke off because of course it did. Why wouldn't it? Okay, let me trim the gate the rest of the way. Then I can super glue it again. And then we're back to square one, I guess. All righty, where's my crap time? That was super glued on from both sides and still came off. That's why I use white glue instead of super glue, kids. White glue's quick, or super glue's quick, but white glue is going to give you a better, stronger thing. I don't have a way to get this to the camera where you can see it. All I'm doing is scraping the blade barely along this so it takes the glue off the top of the wood. Oh, not like that, I'm not. Let's not cut the gate apart. It's going to be I can tell this is going to be a crazy night already. What'd you do? Oh, I watched this guy on the internet mess up like 16 different things on one project. It was crazy. Okay. Will scraping work better than cutting? No, it won't. Okay, so we're back to just super glue, and then I will end up potentially painting over this, or just leave it raw. I don't care. At this point, I'm kind of done with futzing with it. Now, I know I didn't run off with the super glue, so where did I put it? I specifically didn't run off with it. Aha! Now, what I should do, but I'm dumb and probably won't, is use tacky glue and wait the 10 minutes for that to set up. But if I wait the 10 minutes, I'm literally just sitting here talking to y'all for 10 minutes. So I think the problem is I've got the really cheapy dollar store super glue, and it's old. So I think what's happening is it's just not really setting up great. I just talked myself into using the other glue. Dang it. This stuff's really good when you first buy it. I don't know that it's got an expiration date per se, a sell-by date, whatever, but this stuff's like 5 or 6 years old. So, meh. and it came in a 2-pack back when it was dollar store instead of a $1.25 store. So this is literally about a quarter's worth of glue in here. So if I never use that again, that's fine. But for right now, we're going to switch back to the tacky glue. Oh, I forgot to show you all this. Nope, I will show you all that while the glue is setting up because I will have time while the glue is setting up. So let's take tacky glue. Now for tacky glue, that is actually Aleene's tacky glue. It's the only tacky glue I know. This is just a really thick PVA glue. Has less moisture in it. You can use regular PVA glue, which is just your basic, is this school glue or glue all? Yeah, this is school glue, which means it's a little bit thinner. Glue all is the same thing, but a little bit thicker. Tacky glue is the same thing, but a little bit thicker than that. Wood glue is the same thing, but thicker than that, and sometimes has other fibers in it. That's why it's sometimes yellow. But if you want it the other way for holding things in place, sometimes you got to mix it. So this is my fitty of half glue and half water, and I do have some that's even less than that. That's like 20% glue and 80% water. But this I use as, I'll explain in a minute because I'm actually going to show you a thing I do with that. So I'm not using regular PVA. I'm using the tacky glue because 1, it sets up faster, and 2, it doesn't drip anywhere you don't want it to. Now, tacky glue has a tendency to not want to come to the nib, so I keep it in my patented glue holder upper like that. So I've just been showing it to you holding it flat, so that's why I'm holding it upside down right now. And then we're going to take the end that I already had glue on, which is this one. And we are going to, it does not take much. You don't want big globs of it, especially not on something as small as this little spindle on this gate. So I'm just going to put a little bit on there. I'm holding that at a weird angle so y'all can see it, but I can't see how much I'm putting on. So let's do that. But whoa, that's too much. That's too much. Okay, so I'm going to take that and press that against here about where I want that and wipe away the excess. Like I said, I put on like a third, like I put on like 1.5 times what it should be. So I've just wiped away a third of that. There you go. There's your math lesson for today, kids. Okay, now I'm not gonna need that again for a while. Nib, upside down, slide that out of the way. This is gonna end up being the hinge. This is a cotton swab that's been de-cottoned. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but there's still a rough part here at the bottom. I'm going to cut that part off because it snags a little on these posts when you're spinning it, and I don't really want it to do that. So I'm going to cut that off, which I am going to use the same hobby knife again, because if you use a nipper or a scissor on it, it kind of pinches the tube shut, and I don't want to do that. I'm not going to cut straight through this. I'm going to use this and roll it back and forth so it sort of cuts all the way around at once by using the rolling action. While that's doing that, oh, that's going through easier than I thought. Well, that was easy. This part you can put in your rubble or save it or whichever, but I'm not going to bother with that. Okay, so now my hinge pieces on this gate are going to need to be very small-ish, or they don't need to be very big, is more precisely. So I'm going to take those, I don't know, that's the part I had to cut off. I'm going to cut off about that much again, but half for each hinge, so maybe a little more. So same thing, I'm going to take that and roll that back and forth. That blade goes through the really, this is a brand new blade because when I cut myself the other day, I got really angry and snapped the blade off. So this is a brand new sharp blade. You can sharpen these blades, but I did not this time. I just replaced it because anger. And okay, that went through really easy. I'm going to take these, set them off to the side. I'll decide later how I'm going to put them in my rubble pile. Cap on knife for safety. I did not cut myself by leaving the cap off, which is always my worry. I cut myself by, it was kind of a dull blade, and I was cutting at a weird angle, and I wasn't paying attention. Once you get complacent, that's when you get hurt with tools. So don't do that, kids. All right, let's see what we got. All right. 5 days straight, 60 hours. Holy cow. And you got a 12 tomorrow. My goodness. I hope the money's good. Why is my finger on a leash? Oh, that's just the way this, all of my beaded bracelets have some kind of dangly bit, and this one I rebuilt myself. Actually, both of these I've had to rebuild. Actually, I've had to rebuild my other one recently. I've had to rebuild all three of these, and what that is that's paracord in there, and I had a bunch left over, and I'm one of those people that I couldn't cut off the 3 inches of paracord because that would make me feel, no, you're gonna have to throw away 3, and I'm such a stingy git that I ended up just making a loop, and it serves no purpose. It has no reason. I could just as easily take a pair of snips and lop this off here and be just fine with it. It's supposed to have the tassels from, it's loosely based on a type of religious beads. I'm not particularly religious, but that's what it's based on, and those have tassels. This one, I don't know, because why not? That's it. Okay, while we're waiting for that glue to dry or set up, I'm going to show you 3 other things I did in addition to the crops I worked on that I showed you last week and the fences I showed earlier on. I have started making some hay piles, which is these, which are put on regular cheap packaging foam, the crummy stuff that breaks into beads, and I painted those with painted isn't the right word, the same tea that I used for around the bases of the fences with a little bit more brown glue in there. So it ended up being like dirt underneath because I just didn't want necessarily anything showing. And then I piled just natural fibers that have been cut from rope. I don't remember if this is hemp or sisal or whatever, but natural fibers. And I glued them on, and they didn't want to stay. So that's when I used the Fitty Fitty I talked about a minute ago. This is half glue and half water. I sprayed these down with my wet water, which is half isopropyl alcohol and water, and I spritzed those down. That breaks up the surface tension. Then I took the Fitty Fitty and drizzled it on those to get the rest of the straws to stick. So these are my little hay piles. I don't care if they've got some dirt in them. I was thinking of making them bigger, and then I looked at them in scale to my little people and realized that, no, that's a pretty big hay pile to begin with, so I'm going to leave it. But they were super wet and goopy and dripping, so that's why they're on the nonstick pad. They call it a nonstick, but I can't get the spray paint off, so go figure. But that's why they're on the pad. These are made from the same bases as my regular crops, but I made some water. Holy cow, this is still wet after 4 days. Anyway, did the same thing. I put down tacky glue. Then I put down some of the hairy stuff. Then I put down some white glue and put down more of the hairy stuff. Then, just to make sure it stuck, I came by with the Fitty Fitty. So it's not really surprising that it's still wet after 4 days because, well, it's humid where I'm at. So I now have hay fields to go with my other crop fields, which are buried right now. I can't get to. But so now I've got hay fields, which I'm thinking I might go back down and fill it in this way, but then it's just going to look like a mat of hay. So I think I'm good with this, and it's less work to not have to do any more than that. Let me straighten that a little. So that's that one. I'm going to flip that over because it needs to dry more, get more airflow. Got 2 of those, got a smaller one. So I got hay piles, hay fields, and this will eventually be covered with some other stuff, maybe put a little hat-looking thing. This will become a scarecrow. So working on all this farm stuff. I've got a whole list of things for the farm that I'm going to be working on, and I've got most of it. I've got the hay bales. I've got that. Well, I'm not using bales. I've got the hay piles, chipped wood. I still need to build a wain and a barrow. That's like a hay wain. That's a wagon and a wheelbarrow. I'm working on the scarecrow. The barrels and crates I've got from other projects I'll probably use. The troughs I still need to build, and I have some plastic mini animals somewhere, and will probably be attaching some of those at some point. And fret not. I know that this paper looks bad here and on the edges, but this will get touched with brown paint before it's in my final photos. I've got some photos of the farm stuff on my Discord, and several other Discords actually, but those are just work in progress, as several people have said. My farm in those pictures is looking a little bit Stardew Valley, so which is not a problem. So yeah, that's stuff. I've been doing stuff, so that's a lot of stuff. Now let's see if that tacky glue is set up, which I doubt, but let's find out. Okay. If not, I can at least glue the 2 uprights for the fence on, because I can figure that part out. Let me check the chat real quick. 20 hours of overtime. Holy smokies. But hey, Dinner's on you. All I got to do is, cross the pond and find you. All right. Sky is falling. Wandering child keeps check. Yeah, my finger keeps roaming around. If I don't put it on a leash, it does this all the time. You can figure out who that's for. Gel super glue. Yeah, the Dollar Tree never seems to have the gel when I go look for it. So, yeah, whatever. Takes a bit longer to cure, but it seems to adhere better than liquid. Yeah, I've heard, like I said, this is just old is what I think. I think most of the glue-ness of it has settled out, and I can't seem to get it shaken up enough to bother with it. Cornstalk towers. TPs as well as yeah, I've seen some cornstalk stuff done on some things, but and I could just pile up the hay and then put some sticks, but I'm satisfied with that. It's all a fantasy country. So it's all a fantasy. Mia, how you doing, Mia? Mia's been having some very, very cute kitty pictures lately on Mia's Discord. So I don't have a link to Mia's down below, but Mia's got a Discord as well, and also does some live online plays sometimes with a group. But lately, when I've seen the group, it has been the other part of the group and not you, and that's made me sad. So yeah, been interacting with Mia lately. Mia's been building some cool stuff as well. So yeah, it's awesome. So come to my Discord and I can send you to Mia's Discord, or you just look up Mia Geek and you can probably find a link to her somewhere. All right. Let's see if this is tacked up. It has not. I can see. Oh, maybe a little. Okay, we're going to set that off to the side. We're just going to use that as the size. And again, eyeballing this, I'm going to put that in about the center. I am not particularly married to this point. This will all get covered with dirt later, so I'm going to, probably not real dirt, but like tea that looks like dirt. So that's one side, and that's the other side. And that needs to have a fence post. And for the fence posts, I am using pointy bits. Now, pointy bits are things off of like barbecue skewers, chopsticks, things like that, where I've cut off the pointy end, and I save all the pointy parts in things. Why I'm specifically using it this time, I don't really know. I just am. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take a piece that is taller than the gate, and I'm going to cut it about there. If I can find my good cutters, because my nippers don't like to go through this. And I'm going to take that, and that seems goodish. Okay. This needs to not be tapered, because if I put it on a taper, my gate's going to swing wonky, which sounds like a personal issue, but you know what I mean. And I just bumped the heck out of that, so I'm going to have to put even more glue on that, because of course I am. Okay, we're going to take that. No, why are you doing that? That's exactly not where I wanted you. Okay, we're going to put that down in a little groove and fill most of that groove up, and then we're going to take the other side and knock everything loose, because why not? Then we're going to take that and put that in the... Glue has been my absolute bane for the last month. If everything else works, the glue has been just... Okay, so push that down into the groove. Flip it over. Don't stick to it. Push that down into that groove. Okay, now we're going to wait again. But we already were waiting and it wasn't done, so whatever. Now, what I was saying is, if I put this in on a taper, that's going to make my gate swing instead of like this, but it's going to swing like this, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to take the part that's not tapered. I'm going to cut that to about the same height, because I did like that height. We're going to take that and cut that off. If you don't kind of block these, they have a tendency to just go off and shoot everywhere. That's why I pushed it on the thing when I did it. Now, I've got some little scritchy parts I don't like on here, so we're going to take that and my little sanding stick. Get rid of all of the pointy sharp bits. Don't have to do that as much on that because I'm going to use that side as the bottom, and since that's going to be buried in glue, that's going to be less of an issue. So cover the pointy bits for now. Take the other piece and put it into my rubble pile, which is over here. I got my wood rubble. Save those for, I get used for all sorts of things. So take the side I didn't sand as well, and I'm going to want that basically right at that line. So I'm going to take the oldie hot glue. Now I'm using this on the low temp of the 2 temps, just because 1, I don't burn myself as often, and 2, I don't need it to be super gooey for that long. I can just go ahead and put it on and have done with. And just like that, that's in place. We're going to let that cool for a second while I check this stuff again. Oh, Mia got a new job. I didn't know that. Yay, Mia! No chance to get the Mythicon. I wish I could get the Mythicon. Mythicon's on my side of the country, but I am broke. It's a thing. So let's see. While we're okay, that's done. That one's ready. But while I'm kind of hoping this would set up. Now for these, I'm going to have to use super glue on these because there's really no other option for that. So I'm going to use this piece that's not my gate. I'm going to go ahead and glue that in. Not into here. I'm gluing the hingey bit to the upright bit. I'm using this piece as not my finger to hold it in place. Other than that, I have been working on my role-playing game I am writing, and that is actually coming along pretty well. I had file after file after file, and I keep finding more and more files that need to be in it. And now I have gotten all of my little notes from 30 plus years of homebrewing transferred from 8 or 9 different kinds of media into one program. And yes, I am smart, and so I have like 8 backups of that. Then I will be able to use each of those little bullet points to create and construct my role-playing game. That is the point where I'm almost at. I have 7 files left, which are all spreadsheets with multiple sheets. And all of those have to find their way some way, shape, or form into that other program. So that's where I'm at. I am very, very close to being actually writing as opposed to all of the preliminaries. The preliminaries are pretty much done. Then after that, I got 3 things I got to do. 4 things I got to do. Figure out how to make art or where to get art. I've got several irons in that fire right now, so that's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but it's coming along apace. 2, I've got to teach myself the layout and design program so I can make the book myself, because I can't really afford to pay anybody to do that. And I've had people that said they wanted to partner with me and do that, and they've all kind of fallen by the wayside. That sounds like I'm crying and all that, but it's really not. It's basically like, yeah, I'll totally do it. And then basically they never do. That's the thing. People have their own stuff in life. That's fine. I can learn that. Learning layout, I know word processing all that easily. So desktop publishing is not going to be that much more difficult. That's the second one. The third one is I've got to decide on a cover, but that's got to have the first part, the art part, done first. Then I've got to create the business structure from which I'm going to publish, because I'm not just going to self-publish this. It'll be self-published, but by the company I will then own. So that's what I'm doing with that, in addition to the actual writing of the book. So 5-pronged attack. So that's what I'm doing there. Now I am going to find that glue I keep throwing across the table, and I am going to take that and put that in on a smaller thing here so I don't splob glue everywhere. That's the technical term, splob. And I'm going to, this thing has sealed up again. I've reopened this like 3 times today. It'll glue itself closed, but that's the only thing it'll freaking glue. If you're wondering, this is just a regular old hat pin. And I'm using that to force open a funnel, which I know won't work because I've done it 2 or 3 times today already. And we'll spin that around while that's all the way in there. And then put my pin back where it came from. Then I will take my glue. Now I will splob some out on the thing. Okay, that has now been adequately splobbed. Now I will find a toothpick, maybe? Okay, I will use a straight pen, not the one I was just using, but a different style. And I will use that, take super glue, and use that as an applicator on, oh, that's not, okay, we're gonna do an entirely different kind of glue, one that I don't like to use as much, but we're gonna try it. And that's this one. That's the one. Oh, it's still liquid? Maybe. Nope. Figure that out later. Okay. This may be fun. Because I do have one alternative I absolutely know will work. And we will see if that's going to work here in a minute. Really? Ah. This one's liquid, but it's got the same issue as the other one. Oh, glue. How thou dost vex me so. Okay. Really? But oh, these are magnetic. That wasn't glue, that was magnets. Magnets, how do they even work? Okay. Oh yeah, that's what we call gone bad. That's not good. That's a problem. That's fine. Okay, that one's toast. You can save these to use for like mechanical parts and that sort of thing. Actually, I think I will keep the cap, but that's oh, that's gonna pull straight out of there. Yeah, that's not good glue. I mean, it was really good glue, but it's not good now. But hey, I have a perfectly good cap. I wonder if there's actually any liquid down in there. While I'm waiting for the other glue to dry, I might as well do fun, weird little experiments here. What'd you do? I made like 20 people on the internet watch me pull glue out of a bottle. Yeah, that's definitely screwed. So we're gonna just throw that away. Smells like it's still good though. Still got that stinky stink. Okay, so my alternative is I do have tube glue that is not yet open. So I will take that, and that is a brand new tube. So I know that this hasn't gone bad. So we will take that, and then we will take the other end and puncture that. Actually, you know what? I have oh, that's another big bottle, or bigger tube. So, but I do have itty bitty little tubes. So we will use one of those because I only need a little itty bitty bit of glue. And I will not try to cut the package open because, as I said, I've already cut myself once this week. Let's not do that again. Okay. Pointy thing. Okay. I lied, but I'm using scissors, not a knife. And goopy stuff. So I've got a pointy thing and goopy stuff. Sounds like like the name of like a 1970s Disney movie. Pointy thing and goopy stuff. Is that got a hole in it? Yes. I don't know why it has a little flange around the head. I don't know if you can see that. It's got a little flange around the... Anyway, so that has to be poked with something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on there. And then I'm going to take my pokey stick, we call it a straight pen, slide that in there. Wow, that went right through that membrane like nobody's business. That was crazy. I thought there was going to be some resistance to that, and it went straight on through. Okay, so I have glue all over me. All right, one more splob. Much better behaved splob. Okay, now where that can go anywhere crazy, I'm going to take that and prop that up over here so it doesn't drip on anything. Now, I'm going to take that and dip the hinge very carefully into the splob. Roll it back and forth a little to get a decent amount on there, but that's too much, I think. No, that'll work. Okay, now I want to take that, press that into place, and now I'm just going to sit there and hold it for a second till it sort of sets up. I could use the baking soda trick on this, but I kind of need a third hand for that. So we're going to wait. Okay. Yes, everybody got, either this is really exciting or something because nobody's talking in chat anymore. That's okay. Wow, that doesn't want to glue either. Holy cow. Yeah, it's just gonna, I think it's the humidity. No, humidity makes super glue set up. So it being super humid in here should actually make this work better, not worse. So we're gonna take that, pull that little wooden thing out and hold that in. Okay. You gonna stay on the fence post? No. No, you're not. Why are you not? Okay. This fence post is going to get painted. I can tell because I'm going to have to put a lot more glue on here. And that's going to go just like that, which of course made it immediately want to move away. Then we're going to go to the other side before it sets. That's a lot on the other side, relatively lot. And we're going to take my little straight pen and straighten the hinge again. As this sucker goes on here crooked, it's going to get hit with that hammer I showed y'all earlier. Nah, probably not. I'll probably just redo it. But okay, we're going to push that in. The trick is pushing it into place and then having it right where I need it to be without it then sticking to my finger and trying to pull away. Okay, so that's that. Looks like that's setting up. That should set up at some point. I don't have a way to cap this off, so I'm just going to hope that doesn't dry completely out in the next, 3 minutes. All righty. Oh, you actually crafting or what you working on, Mia? I mean, you say looking up when you can. So whenever you get around to answering that, I just don't know if you're crafting some more or if making dinner or whatever. So, okay, are you set up? You're getting there because that glue tacked you down to the work surface. That's coming along. Now, this gate may turn into a 3-week project. Holy cow. Okay. Yeah. Fun. Okay, so I didn't make my fence post tall enough. Because of course I didn't. Well, that's problematic. Well, the hinge just fell off of it anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to use that as the other side, and we're going to get a longer pointy bit. We're not even going to cut that down until we know how long it needs to be. We're going to start this whole freaking process over again. Okay, first things first. And that is put glue on the fence post. Super glue, not hot glue. We're going to take that, we're going to put that on the hinge, which it will hopefully pick up, but it is not. Because of course it's not, because the hinge is probably glued down. Yep, sure is. Okay, so we're going to try this again, a different way with style and verve. We're going to take that and stick that on that way. Use gravity to keep that on the right side of that, and then I got to reorientate that, and then it wants to stick to my finger because of course it does. I just needed to sit here long enough for me to get to my baking soda. There we go. Just that right there. And we're going to take that. And I am not even messing around with this. I'm going to dip that straight into a pile of baking soda. Now, what the baking soda does, for those of you that don't know, is it immediately cures super glue. And it will set up just like a little plastic, except that glue hates me, and so of course it won't. So now I can fix its little red wagon because now I have a hinge totally covered in the baking powder, and I can take glue, put it on the fence post, and now when I stick the thing in there, that should set up quickly. Should on my channel is always in air quotes, because should and will rarely go together. Wow, this glue just does not want to glue. This is nothing new. I've had this issue with super glue my entire life. It is a well-known fact that I have gremlins, and super glue is just one of the many, many, many ways they show themselves. Now, why are you rolling away while I'm trying to put glue on you? Really? It's got enough glue that it won't fall off, but it won't stay long enough to set up. Jinkies. Ah! Aha! It did the thing. It is now plasticked. It has now become one with the plastic tube. Okay. Blow off the excess, and you can see where that has become like plasticized. Tube is still hollow, so I can still get the fence post in it. I can demonstrate that with the straight pin. Now, it is not fully hollow because some of the baking soda has set up in there, but I can still make that work. What I'm going to do before I do any of that is put some glue on the other side and plasticize that as well. Literally watching glue dry here. Now, unfortunately, that was all buried in the baking soda. It's really cool. If you put the baking soda on it and it's like on a flat surface or something, you can actually see when it goes off. There's this little puff of smoke. It gets super hot for like literally like a thousandth of a second. And the smoke comes off and then it's over. It's done. Okay, now at this point, this is plenty hard. And I can attempt to drill through that with either this piece of wood, which is not going to work, or with one of my tiny little drill bits if I can find them. Well, let me try a thicker straight pin first, see if that'll open it up a little. Don't worry, this is not pointed at me because I'm holding the tube. It can't stab me from there. Now I'm well out of the way. Aha, going through. Okay. Really what I'm doing by doing it with the straight pin is establishing a pilot hole for when I do come by with a drill bit here in a second. I do not, no, that's not true. I cannot find my thing that's called a pin vise, which is a tiny little drill that you hold in your hand. I do not know where that went. So I'm going to have to use, I think, just the drill bit, or I might, if I get super crazy, use it on a Dremel really slowly. Oh, that really, really plugged that hole up. So that's fun. Keep in mind, I got another one of these hinges to put on too. That's gonna be fun. All right, so give me just a second. I'm gonna go see if I can find my drill bit. Let me move my farm accoutrements out of the way here. I can walk through the space I just set them in. Go back. Did it come back? I think it came back. Let me know if it came back. Barnes White says that 5-minute 2-part epoxy is especially useful. That is probably true. However, the only set I've got, I would end up wasting an entire package for literally droplets. And I'm just as likely to have as many problems with epoxy as I am with super glue. Plus, epoxy can kill you, and you should never, ever, ever, ever in a million years ever touch wet epoxy with your bare hands. But I see people do it all the time, but I'll be that guy at murders. So, oops, I just said kill and murder. I'm probably going to get shut down by YouTube. Oh, well. Okay. I am going to use, I think, that tiny little drill bit. Nope. That. Slightly more. Well, hold on. It's fine. I don't think this one's going to fit through the tube. It is, oh yeah, we're going to use that drill bit because the thicker drill bit I can use, the less likely I am to snap it off. So I'm not using it in the Dremel on camera because if y'all, bad mojo. Okay, so I will mess that up and then I will say words that should not be said in public, and I've broken the damn thing off again, but that is okay. I do have some 5-minute epoxy, but like I said, I'd have just as much trouble with that as I am with this. It is an ongoing thing between me and my gremlins. All good. Okay. Oh, and it was only plugged at one tiny little spot. Of course it was. All right. So, at least now, I can take that, pick it up with tweezers, and sit it into the groove in the baking soda. And that should be like 800 times easier. Hey, look at that. That went perfect, like nobody's business. Okay. Now, just because, I'm going to put a little more super glue on the outside of that on both sides and dip that one more time. But that having been said, hi, Barnes White. I don't know that I've seen you before. If I have, I apologize. But if not, welcome. If I have, still welcome. And I do appreciate the input. I do. I just, you are unfamiliar with my level of things hate me-itude. Okay, so as you can see, I now have a hinge fairly well attached. Now, I need to figure out exactly how high this needs to be, which is the height of the gate and about a pencil width. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of hang that hinge on the gate, go to the other side, and just mark a little mark. And that is where the bottom of my other hinge should be. We're going to have to go through this whole rigmarole all over again. Yep, I used my dad's word. My dad's big on the word rigmarole. Okay, I'm getting a cramp because of course I am. Alrighty, tweezers. Should have learned that in the first trick. Okay. That in the hinge on the same side of the stick as the other hinge. at the right elevation. Hold that in place just enough to get it straighter, because it keeps wanting to be diagonal. And then, of course, it moved, because why wouldn't it? And now we take the baking soda and sprinkle it, because I can't really stick this part into the tub. This is going to involve a lot of tiny micro sanding later. But we're going to take that, blow off enough that it's just in the groove. Use a little more super glue. Let that plasticize into that, which it seems to be doing. Okay. Then the other side. Oops, that's lost all of it. So let's put some more powder on it. Then dump off the excess. And then a little more into there. And that. Again, air quotes around the word should do me. Okay. This one's well and truly in place, so that's good. That one's pretty good. So now that it's on better, more glue. One more sprinkle of goop. And from the other side, more glue. And one more sprinkle of goop. And at that point, I think that should be done. Should, should, air quotes. All right, now I'll take that from the other side, and okay, good. That hole is not blocked. We already know the bottom one's good. The top one is good. That is good. Now, once that fully sets up, because I can see that it hasn't, once that is fully set up, then I will be cutting the stick right above that. Rather than cause a big shock wave to go through it by using the clippers, I think I'm going to try to get through that with a razor knife. So we'll put the glue over here out of the way. We will put the baking soda back in the baking soda package. Close that up so I don't spill it everywhere. Take the excess baking soda and sweep it off to the side. Straight pen is covered in glue, so we'll sand that clean in a bit. Got my knife. I have super glue. Oh, that's hot glue. Where the heck did you come from? All right. And we'll take that, and now we will try to get through this board. All right. Pet gremlins suck. Yeah. I had to deal with printing something for my daughter. Who's looked like it says a new to you EcoTank printer that was given to you. Couldn't sign into your email to your computer because, of course. Here's a fun thing. Every Sunday, even if I've been here, 6 days during the week before that, every Sunday, right before this thing, I always have to check both my YouTube and my Google separately, even though it's in the same browser and the same account, because it likes to log out of one, the other, or both. So I have to double check all that. And of course, that means I need to have my phone with me for the 527 factor authorization, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so at this point, that should snap off. Yes, okay. Now, got one little pointy bit, so let's nip that off. These are the wrong scissors for that to work. I could sand that, but you know what? I don't, yeah, I'm going to sand that. Okay, so that's the wood sanded. Alrighty. Now, the glue needs to be sanded so I don't have a big lump of baking soda on it. I don't know if you can see that, but that's kind of lumpy looking. Already sanded it part way. There you go. You can see what I'm talking about right there. So we'll take that, and I strongly suggest doing this if you get a chance. This is just sandpaper that's been stuck to a paint stirrer, and I use these sanding sticks for everything. It's like a huge emery board. Emery boards also work well. but I had this one close to hand. I do have some memory boards over there. I can actually see them from here, but I got to walk over and grab them. And the last time I walked over there, YouTube tried to shut off on me, which has nothing to do with me walking over there. Okay, so that's top hinge, and I guess it doesn't really matter which is top and bottom, but the one that I was calling top to begin with and the one that I was calling bottom to begin with. Okay, I wanted these to be a little more distinct as little tubes so that you could see that they were really hingy hinges, but that is not how that turned out. Okay, so hypothetically, if I take this drill bit, which is exactly the inside outer diameter as these are the inner diameter, that should slide through this hole and straight into the other one and straight out the top, because they should be holy cow. After all of that, it worked. That's going to be my hinge. That's going to be my gate piece. Now, here's the thing with the gate piece. I need to take this part once it sets up, and I will trim this off about half the length of this tube. And I will then take this piece, slide it up into that tube, up far enough to where it hits that. Oh, I messed up. That's not going to work anyway. Nope, I can make that work. I've got just enough clearance to make that work. So I don't know if you can see how that's going to work. This piece needs to be only as long as that gap, but I can make that gap larger by taking this and doing this. Oh, wow, that's not even plastic. That's all super glue. Okay, so that's that. And I can take a little bit off the bottom one as well. That'll give me a little bit larger gap to work with. Okay, so now this bottom piece needs to be only the height of that gap, because that way I'll be able to take the top piece, slide it in there, slide it all the way up, and then pop that into place and drop it down into it. And then the gate will stay. I can't do that tonight because this piece isn't finished drawing. So I'm right back to the drawing board on that. I am so done with the gate part of this that basically I'm not going to do any more gate on video. I will make this gate work one way or the other during the week. At that point, do y'all want to see me come back and put 5 more, well, this one and 4 more posts on this and turn those into more fence like the ones here? Or are y'all done with the farm and want to see me move on to something else? Let me know either in the comments or in the Discord, and I can either work on a fence that looks kind of like this, but with a second piece here for next week on the either side of the gate, or you can move on to something else entirely. Let me know in the comments or preferably on my Discord. Yeah, for that, I think that what we are going to do is call that an evening, and I'm going to start wrapping up. I'm going to put a bunch, I'm going to leave parts that are actually for the gate. I'm going to leave here, which are the straight pin, the drill bit. No, the drill bit I'm going to put up. Straight pin, that little board. I'm going to leave the knife out once I put it to cover the blade so it's safer. You know, pencil. May need the tweezers again. Don't think I'll need the pliers, so I'll put them up. I will try to put them up. Okay. And the drill bit can go away. By the way, if you get a chance, I am not in any way, shape, or form sponsored by this, which would be lovely if I was, but I am not. But if you get the chance, and they have them occasionally, and then they don't, and then they do, and then they don't. But if you ever get the chance to get this cordless, it's not a Dremel tool because it's not a Dremel brand, but this cordless rotary tool from Aldi, get it. It was like $20. And I think it was on sale or I got a discount. I think I only got $12. But anyway, they're only about $20. And this thing has been amazing. I've used it for like 100 things: grinding, cutting, shaping, forming, whatever. So not sponsored, but I'd love to be. How cool would that be to be having a crafting channel and be sponsored by Aldi? That would be badass. Okay, so straight pin. We can put that back over here. I think. Yep, there we go. This is the one I had all the glue on, and it's kind of jacked up. But you can always take these and just sand them. The super glue comes right off. But it's really not worth it to me because what I use these for is never that precise. So I'm just going to put it back in my... I took a piece of EVA foam, that's the rubbery foam, and I stuck it on a flooring sample, and just to have a rigid backing, and it makes a fantastic pin cushion. And this is like one of my most useful tools, and you wouldn't think so. So, where was I? Sanding. I talked about tools. So I got rotary tool, sanding tool, drill bits, pin cushion. Put all my pointy bits of wood back, and then leave that here. I'm going to take that piece, that super glue that I can't seal, that was only for one use anyway. I'm going to toss that. Not the card. I used the card over and over, but the thing, that's going away. Pencil, glue, baking soda. I'm done with the natural fiber stuff that I was using as hay, so that's going to go back with my foliage stuff. Same with the stuff that I was using on the fence last week. That's going to go back with my foliage. That's flock made out of sawdust and just green paint. Yeah, I guess I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up unless any of y'all got any questions. I wasted the 6 square inches of EVA foam. Yeah, I've got piles and piles and piles and piles and piles and piles and piles of EVA foam. I got a huge amount of EVA foam for $2 because I got a kid's play set that has like ABCs and numbers, where it's like the square, but the A or the F or the 9 poke out and they're in a different color. And I got that whole stack of those for like $1.91 or whatever at the thrift store. So yeah. Miniature version of the Inferno room from Beetlejuice. Nice. But it's for halflings. So is it going to be even just a smaller scale, or is it going to be built to regular mini scale, but just the halflings are going to, when you say it's for halflings, you mean they're operating it? Because they can't be trusted, I'm sure. Or do you mean people are being mean to the halflings? Because that could go either way. Download an app, connect a printer to get it done. Ugh. You gotta love that. Let's see. Yeah, that's everything. Okay, I think I'm going to call that a night. Let's switch to that. Nope, let's switch off this lamp first so I don't blind y'all. And then I'm going to switch to my front camera, which its light has turned off for some reason. So it looks like I'm going to poke y'all in the face, but I promise I'm not. Let's just turn that light on real quick. Okay, so yeah, the gate's basically done. Lots of back and forth, lots of back and forth, lots of back and forth. But once that piece sets up and that white glue dries, it's going to be very sturdy. That's not an issue. The problem is just all of this little fiddly stuff in the meantime. Once it's actually on the table and ready to go, it'll be fine. But I just had to insist on a functional gate because reasons, I guess. So yeah, that's it. Like I said, most of these sessions of mine are really laid back. I try to keep it under an hour and a half, just so I know people got stuff to do. Please, I always forget to tell everybody, like, share, and subscribe. Please, please, please. And leave comments. Comments actually seem to drive the algorithm a lot more. So like, share, subscribe, comment, all the fun stuff. You know where to find all the links and places. Actually, I don't have one up there this week because I'm not putting in. Anyway. Other than that, all the links are down there. Hit them. If you want to support the channel, if you like what I'm doing, I've got a Patreon, I've got a Buy Me a Coffee, and I've got, I guess you could Venmo me. I mean, if it's good enough for the federal government to ask for a handout by Venmo, it's good enough for me. Yeah. If you're new to this, I hope that you'll come back. It's sometimes I'm far more active and I cover a lot more ground in one evening. If you're not new to this and you've come back and this is your, this is not your first time, bless you, because you know how this rodeo works. You've ridden the Bronco. It's all good. So this is Campaign Terrain. I am your host, That Guy Cross. You're always welcome in my basement. And until next time, I wish you luck in your campaign, whether it's on the table or in real life. I love you, and I hope y'all have a great night. Thanks so much.